Hey guys, welcome to today's video. Today I wanted to try something new and film a draw with me video on my iPad Pro. So since illustrating some of my own papers and printables using the iPad, I've had some requests to do some videos, and I thought I'd just start out with a simple drawing process and see if you guys enjoy it. So I got inspired one afternoon to draw a picture of my children on a horse wearing their pajamas, and the concept behind it was that when they all went to sleep, their dreams would sort of join together and they would go on an adventure together. So after I did that, I decided to draw a few more versions of the same thing, and in this video I'm drawing them on a snail. So it's like they've been shrunk to miniature size and they're riding a snail. So when I first got my iPad, I had absolutely no experience at all drawing digitally. And I'd never drawn on an iPad either, so it took a little bit of practice to get used to the feeling of it all and to learn all the tools. And this video is actually sponsored by Skillshare, and I do have to give some credit to Skillshare for helping me to learn my way around Procreate, which is the app that I use to draw on the iPad. So if you're not familiar with Skillshare, it's an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes in a really broad range of topics and categories. I really enjoy browsing through the illustration classes most of all, but there are so many other interesting topics too, such as crafts, entrepreneurship, film and video, photography, graphic design, and there's heaps more. And what I really like about it is that the classes are designed specifically for learning, and so they're set out in a way where there isn't really any fluff. Everything is just really straight to the point, and it's focused on teaching for that particular topic. So I know whenever I watch a Skillshare class that every moment of it is going to have some knowledge for me to take in and to put to use. There's such a range of content to choose from that it's suitable for all kinds of people and all different levels of experience and skill types. I've been using Skillshare to learn how to do specific things on the iPad and in Procreate particularly, and it's actually where I learned how to create repeat patterns to make my own scrapbook papers for my Etsy shop. I've also recently taken a class on animating in Procreate by Brooke Glazer. The class was called Procreate Animation for Illustrators, Create Easy GIFs in Procreate 5, and it just helped me understand the tools and how simple it can be to bring motion into your art. I would really love to master this and be able to add some simple animation to my YouTube videos using this feature, so I found it really interesting and I definitely want to give that a try. Skillshare classes don't have any ads, so there's no interruptions, and the classes are broken down into different segments, which makes it really easy to stop and start whenever you need to. And there's always new classes being added, so there's an endless amount of content. It costs less than $10 a month with an annual subscription, but for a limited time you can use the link in my description to get a free trial of Skillshare Premium membership. I'll leave the link to some of the classes I found really helpful for learning on Procreate, and now let's get back to the draw with me. So the iPad that I'm using is actually a second-hand iPad, and I think it's like the 9.5 inch size. And the first thing I'm doing is just doing a really rough sketch of where I want things to be. So like the shape of the snail and how the kids are going to be sitting on top of the snail. And I apologize for my reflection in the iPad. This was my first time filming one of these videos, and I probably shouldn't have sat underneath the window because it made it really reflective. So I'll definitely have to do a different sort of setup next time if you'd like me to do more of these videos. So I'm just using the same brush for the whole entire drawing, including coloring it in, and that's I think it's a Derwent pencil. And as you can see, I'm just kind of working in layers. So the first layer was a really rough sketch, just getting the shapes where I want them to be, and then I added another layer where I could refine the drawing a little bit and draw everything in the way that I want it to be. I want this to feel like an authentic drawing too. I don't want it to look perfect. I like it to look a little bit sketchy. I don't want it to look too digitized, I suppose. And so I'm trying to make it look imperfect and loose in a way. So after I did this drawing, I also did one I decided to do. So the first one was my three kids riding a horse. The second one was the snail with my three kids and their cousin Emberly riding a snail. And then I did my two boys riding a cow. And then I did the two girls riding a butterfly. So I just thought it was a cute idea to make it like a little dream drawing. So it's like they go to sleep and then they have a dream where they all remember it and they all experience it together. And in each drawing I made them wear the same pajamas so you could tell who was who, and my kids immediately knew who was who just based off the pajamas because I did them in sort of their favourite colours. Yeah, I think it was really cute. So I kind of went back to this really simple drawing style. This is a style that I used to draw in a lot actually when I was younger. I was interested in doing children's book illustrations, and this was sort of the very simple style that I really enjoyed drawing little scenes in with little kids. And yeah, I think it's really fun to do something really simple every now and again, nothing that should be exactly like anatomically correct or realistic. I think especially because I'm not that refined in my drawing and in my style, I still have a lot of practice to do. I'm a little bit rough. I haven't done a ton of drawing in recent years. I've done a little bit here and there, but I used to do a lot of drawing when I was younger. I used to draw every day, whereas as I got older I would draw like quite rarely. So it wasn't until I got the iPad that I started to draw regularly again. And yeah, I'm really happy. I'm so happy that I got the iPad because it's really reignited that love for me. It just makes it so easy. I love being able to just draw wherever I am, whether I'm sitting on the lounge or in bed or whatever. It's just so easy to have everything right there and not have to get everything out. I think that's the biggest thing for me that was stopping me from drawing before, just having to set up and have all the bits and pieces to draw, whereas this is something that's so quick to both stop and start. There's no packing up, there's no setting up. It's just, yeah, it's really accessible for me. So you can see once I got the drawing how I wanted it to be, I just cleaned up the lines a little bit. So I didn't want to clean it up too much. As I said, I wanted it to be a sketchy drawing, but I didn't want to have lots and lots of lines. And now I'm just adding in some more details. So the details of the pajamas that the kids are wearing. I'm pretty sure everything at this point is on the same layer. And then when I get to colouring, I will add another layer in, and I'll put the layer behind the sketch so that when I colour it in, I'm not losing any of those lines. So I think this turned out really cute in the end, but I feel like it changed, like the style changed ever so slightly from the first one. So the one I did with the horse, I think that it was partly because I was leaning over the table to draw and trying to film it. Whereas with the first one, I usually like to draw with the iPad right on my lap so I can see it's really close to my face. Whereas with this process, as I was filming it, I was kind of trying to sit back to get my reflection out of the screen, and I couldn't see quite as well as what I usually can. And yeah, it was just a little bit different. I don't usually sit at the table to draw, to be honest. So yeah, I still think it turned out cute though. It's just not quite as, I don't want to say realistic because the first one's not realistic either, but I feel like the proportions in the first one were a little bit more realistic than in the snail one. So now I'm just going back to the original drawing and I'm just picking up colours. So I'm just making sure that I've got the same colours for all the pajamas and the skin tone and the hair so that I can make it look the same as the first drawing. So the pajamas are all the same. And as you can see, I'm just colouring in really, really simply. I'm just placing the colours behind the drawing so that I'm not losing my lines. And I'm using the exact same pencil as I did for the sketch. So it's just literally colouring in blocks of colour, not really doing any shading or anything like that, and just filling in all the colours. And I think I work on a few layers when I'm doing this as well, so I like putting the skin tone behind the pyjamas layer, the layer with the pyjamas, and that just makes it easier because it doesn't matter so much if you go out of the lines. And for the hair, I'm just using a couple of different colours and just adding lots of little lines to try and make it look like hair. And usually if I was drawing this picture just from like my imagination and I was making the characters up, I would have a lot more diversity in hair color and skin color and everything. But because I was drawing people from my real life, like my kids and my niece, they all look so similar. They all have like almost the same color hair and the same color skin, so like there's not a lot of diversity in this drawing, but that's only because I'm trying to make them look like people from my real life. Once I am happy with the way the children are coloured in, I just added all of that to the same layer, and then I'm adding another layer behind that where I'm colouring in the snail. And I've coloured that in super messily at first, and then I'm just rubbing out the lines that I don't want there. And the reason that I did it that way is because the particular pencil that I'm using, if you lift your pencil and then you colour in, and you lift your pencil and colour in, it will have like, you'll be able to see the layers of the pencil where it's overlapped, and I wanted it to all look like just one block of colour. So I wanted to colour in the whole snail without lifting the pencil, which is why I did it in that messy way, and then rubbed out the lines that went outside of the lines. And then I'm just going in with a lighter colour brown just to add some more details to the snail. So just going around the shell and adding some variations in colour, and then also along the bottom of the snail as well. And then what I wanted to do with all of these drawings was take the same border that I drew in the first one and just place it on top of each drawing, so they all have that same element about them that kind of makes them match together. So I just added that border that I did in the first picture, and I added it to each drawing, so this one as well, and that just sort of, I feel like it just makes it look finished, and it just made them all match together as like a little series of drawing. So I printed these out just to see how they would print. I think they look really cute. I think they'll be nice little ephemera pieces in my journal. I wish that the border printed a little bit more contrasty so that you could see all the details in the border. I don't know if that was just my printer or because I was low on black ink, or maybe just the way that the drawing printed, but you can't see all the details very well in the printed version, but I still think it looks really, really cute. If you'd like to print that out yourself, I'll have a link to that down below. And yeah, let me know if you guys enjoyed this type of video, because if you did, I'm happy to film some more. I just have to try and improve my setup a little bit. But yeah, I hope you guys are all doing really well, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.